People didn't even realize we were going to need a lot. In 1986, I think, or 85, Apple came up with Mac 2, Lisa, I think that was the nickname. And it had an option for memory up to 2 megabytes. And you know what Bill Gates said? Who the hell is going to ever need 2 megabytes of memory? I mean, that guy, he's a very smart businessman, don't get me wrong, but he's the bottleneck in the software industry, or Microsoft is in general. Did you see how they actually managed to screw up ChatGPT? Microsoft always finds a way. They kind of started that way. In 1982, IBM decided that it's a kind of a side business. They were into mainframe business. That's where the money was. These were computers that were as big as this room. Okay, that's what a mainframe was. And they had memory up to maybe, 256 megabytes, something like that. But they wanted to do side business because Apple was doing a little stuff. And they needed someone to write an operating system for that computer. These were new chips, 16-bit. We have now 64-bit chips. And the previous chips were 8. And they hired Microsoft to write an operating system because they had written an operating system for an 8-bit Atari computer in about 1978. That was kind of their first contract. And instead of writing native code for a 16-bit machine, which means you use the assembly language, which makes it a lot more efficient and fast. Do you know what Microsoft did? Or what Bill Gates convinced Paul Allen and others to do? They said, we're going to write a code that's going to instruct the IBM PC to believe that it is an Atari 8. Okay? It is called an emulator. Then that runs first when the computer boots. Once that runs, computer believes that it's an Atari 8. Well, they already had the code for that, so boom. But that slows it down. All right. Now, I'm gonna also, since we're gonna deal with these anyway, let's insert another row. So let's put in some weights. I'm going to just put in arbitrary numbers for now. And when you have a portfolio, they need to add up to 1. So I'm going to make sure that they do. So the last is going to be 1 minus some of the weights of the others. What do I mean when I say a stock is a negative weight? What do you think I mean? Just shorten it. Okay? If a stock has a weight greater than 1, in this case, you're basically investing in that on a leverage basis. I mean, I didn't put cash in here. Normally, I could have, but for now, let's stick to some traditional weights. And those of you guys who know me, I like backgrounds of some shade of green for stuff that I view as input. And some shade of red for stuff that are already built-in formulas. Again, this goes back to 2 things. I view worksheet as communication tools. B, that's also a note to myself. I have green light to enter stuff into there, okay? Those are inputs. And I have red light, or red lights in San Francisco, I don't know. So that I shouldn't touch it unless I know what I'm doing. Those are kind of warning traffic signs for me. All right, let's do a portfolio. Nice thing about portfolio returns, they are weighted sum of the individual returns. So all I have to do is, I can do the old-fashioned way, but I'm going to use the function SumProduct. It does what the name suggests, it sums products, okay? And you can have as many arguments as you want. If you have two, it basically multiplies, I'm going to do it in columns, it multiplies the numbers in the rows and adds up to products. Sometimes you may even have three. You multiply three things, then you add up to products. That actually comes up in certain calculations. So I'm gonna, the first set of numbers will be the weights. Again, the stuff do not have to be in columns, they could be in rows. And the second set of stuff is gonna be the returns, okay? And let me copy and paste the format. Again, to remind myself that this is something special, I don't have to. This is my way of telling myself. I'm gonna make that background very light yellow, and I'm gonna make it red. Okay, there seems to be something wrong. I mean, looking at the return for the week of September 20th, there's no way I should have zero return on that. Did I make a mistake somewhere? What's my mistake?
At the top, it should be absolute value.
Absolute reference. Thank you. And I made that mistake on purpose to see if you guys were going to catch it. And I'll do that quite a bit. Sometimes I make genuine mistakes. But either way, when you see a mistake, please jump in. I actually love students who tell me I'm wrong, okay? I mean, don't think that I'm gonna think less of you. Even if you are wrong, to think me of wrong, that's okay. You're not gonna learn that you weren't wrong, you were wrong, unless, you let me know. The weights are gonna be constant across all cells, okay? If I copy and paste that formula, all references, unless I do something about it otherwise, are shifted. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna come on these references for weights, I'm gonna hit F4. That's a shortcut to make it an absolute reference. And otherwise, you could simply type, if your computer does not have an F key, you can simply put dollars in front of the row reference and the column reference. The first one says fix the columns, the second one says fix the rows. Sometimes you want to fix only one of them. Okay? I mean, that's not the case here, but sometimes you do. It's rather convenient. And voila, we calculated all the returns for this portfolio very quickly. The SumProduct function becomes even better when you have 30 stocks to worry about. Technically, I could have written it as $C $1 times C3 plus $V $1 times D3 plus $E $1 times E3. Then copy and paste. That's very uncivilized. Okay? I mean, if you're doing this once for 3 stocks, sure, why not? go ahead, knock yourself out. But if I wanted to change this into 30 stocks, all I have to do is change the references to the, what you want to call, columns, done. Excel or computers in general are about making your life easy on yourself. That's why I call it civilized. You know, the ancient cave people waited for the lightning to strike to cook a meal. But the civilized people actually realized, okay, I can maintain that fire and actually grill on it whenever I want to. All right, we have about 10 minutes. Let's kind of get us started on basic measures of average or typical returns. What's the most basic average measure we have? If I have a lot of numbers. It's actually a rhetorical question, but it's the average, okay? In statistics, we call it the mean. I should call it arithmetic average. We'll talk about geometric average next time. Arithmetic average of a collection of numbers is you just add them up divided by the numbers, total number. Well, that's very uncivilized. So I'm gonna actually do something here. I'm gonna copy these, paste them here. The name of the function in Excel is average. Just select the numbers to be averaged. Again, I want to give them a little bit, maybe I'll make them blue. Come on. And all I have to do is shift them.